Superman has kind of been that title that people don't really read because they think he's just a goody two-shoes character. That's the biggest thing I see from people who've never read his comics, and I understand that complaint. It's okay. That's what I used to think till I actually started reading comics. So this list is going to take some comics that I think everybody in the world should check out, read, and it's perfect because I'm not going to pick titles such as the newer Superman, which is great for the rebirth, but I don't think it's good for people that really don't know Superman or think he's just this one type of character. So we're going to get into a list of 5 comics or 5 graphic novels, comics collected into one book that you can go pick up on Amazon right now and read at the second you get a chance to. Let's go. We're going to start with number 5, Red Sun. And the reason I'm putting this guy on here because I don't even love Red Sun. I think it's a good graphic novel, a good story, but it's not great. However, it is a great story for something very different. So Superman lands in Russia, and we take this story of what would happen if he became a savior for them instead of us. It's a cool concept, a cool what if, and I think a lot of people who don't like Superman will like this story, or people that never read comics would like the funny twist to see a different type of Superman. So I definitely suggest Red Sun as something different out there, and that's why I'm going to put it on my list. Even though I didn't love it, I think a lot of people will enjoy it. Now we're getting into comics that I completely love with Superman, and number 4 is a very long title. It's What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way, and this is one of the better comics out there. Joe Kelly to me is a pretty solid writer. I know some people love him, some people don't like his style. I'm in the middle, but this is one of those stories definitely worth reading. This is the comic actually made for people who are like, is Superman outdated? Maybe he's not that interesting anymore. And this is what was made in the early 2000s. It is an interesting tale of kind of getting deep into the Superman psyche and kind of understanding why he's an important character to the DC universe. And it's definitely one of those titles I think anybody can enjoy, whether you're a fan of Superman or not. Coming in at number 3 is Birthright. Now, I have mixed feelings about Birthright. I could have put Birthright, or I could have put another story on here called All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman, I know a lot of people praise it as one of the best. I didn't like it at all. However, Birthright I enjoyed and respect for what it is. It is basically the origin story or the beginning of the life of Superman, or the Man of Steel as we know it, getting into more of his deeper superhero time. So I really did enjoy what it was trying to tell. Some of the issues didn't captivate me like others, but it's Mark Waid. He gives what he does best. It's kind of give you this character you can root for it, whether you like him or not. And it is the perfect beginning story for Superman fans or people wanting to try to get to Superman. Birthright really does a good job of kind of getting you up to date with more of the 90s, 2000 feeling of Superman. Oh, number 2 is Secret Identity. Now, this one's an interesting one. This story actually isn't about the Clark Kent that we know in the universe as Superman going around with the Justice League and everything. This is actually a boy who read about Superman. It's like if Superman was in our world, like a comic book world, and then he became the Superman of our world. It is actually an interesting concept. It really draws you in, and it's broken up into 4 parts of basically kid, young adult, adult life, and then old. And it is a beautiful, just a beautiful way of telling a story of a kid who basically becomes the Superman we all want to be, better than us, better than humans, better than people. And it is really well told with a beautiful ending, and I really enjoy this story as it's told. This is not the Superman story that you should read if you want to get into the massive amount of comics out there of Superman, but this is a single told story of almost a tribute to the Man of Steel in such a beautiful way, and it's definitely worth reading. And number 1 is actually the newest one on this list, American Alien. American Alien is the comic that I give people who say Superman's boring. It's the comic I give people who say I haven't read a comic in forever. It's the comic I'm going to give people when they're like, what's a good comic to read? American fucking Alien. American Alien is written by Max Landis. Now, some people are like, oh, I hate him, but he is actually a very talented writer. If you read his scripts and not just the movies that they take his scripts and fucking destroy it, you'll notice that he really does give an enriching story every time he writes, and American Alien is no exception. It's actually one of the best comics I read this year. It's about Clark from a kid into adulthood, and it's just so well done because it is human-like, and you're like, well, I don't want to read that. Superman's a god. this is a story of Clark Kent. If you ever wanted to know why Superman is so interesting, read this, because Clark is usually used as a secret identity for Superman. However, in this story, you feel like Clark is really Clark and Superman is his secret identity. And I really loved it in that sense, that it flipped the script of what most writers think of Superman as. I also really just love the fact that the dialogue feels so easygoing, so up-to-date, so modern, that I think the younger audience will easily get into this title. So, American Alien, if you want to see the life and tribulations of our Man of Steel in so many great ways, check it out. It's definitely my #1 choice for anybody who hasn't read, or anybody who has read Superman. This is the best Superman story I've read in years. It's one of the best period stories that I read this year. So saying that is my top 5 list of Superman comics to read. There are so many out there that I didn't put on here that people love, like All-Star Superman. There's also the Kingdom Come, if you count that as a Superman story. There's the new Superman Rebirth, that's really good. The Death of Superman. There's so many stories out there, but these 5 I think are the easiest to kind of get into the world of Superman and learn about why he's an interesting character, but also stories that you could just pick up and not read anything else and still really enjoy. So, what's your list of top 5 Superman titles that you read? Or do you plan on picking up any of these titles? If you do, let me know which, and I will gladly tell you why you should read even more so. And everybody, if you want to see more of these top 5 type of comics, because I read so many lists, like maybe top 5 X-Men comics to read, or top 5 Batman, or anything like that, let me know below. I can try to make a list for that too. If you don't like these, just ignore it. Hit the thumbs up button because you love me, but you probably won't. You probably negative thumbs me down because you're mean. But everybody else, have a wonderful day. Whity out.